this is my first time in 35 years that I got to enjoy the beach in my wheelchair, which is a really big deal. Like, really big deal. I got to do it all week.
I love it. I mean, I wish it was every time.
Right.
But at least it was the time that you're pregnant.
I know.
That you're like the most uncomfortable, but you can be the most comfortable on this situation.
Yeah, it's just so cool. Until
the last day. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. I would not be giving you no 5 stars. Let me tell you that.
We have this, just you can't use it.
Right. It's silly to me. I don't know. I feel like to my core, I feel like it's wrong. Like, it is wrong. Okay, so episode 6 of our podcast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Dang.
I know, right? And we just got back from a family vacation. So we were going to share some of that. I was thinking about it as I was like thinking about doing this podcast. And I think a lot of people see on our socials that we are not home a lot. Like, we travel a lot. And maybe we'll get to, more into kind of what we do as far as career stuff. But a lot of our travels are usually work.
Mm-hmm. Almost exclusively.
Yeah. So we sometimes we turn them into vacations.
Yeah. We still have fun.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're just going out for a vacation.
Yeah. We usually are like jumping on when you're on the road. If you're not, if you had certain fly dates or, a tour bus, we don't go on those. But if it's like driving, we'll try to go and bring the kids. We've done that since they were really little. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's my work stuff if I have speaking opportunities or whatnot. And so we try to make them into vacations. However, this one was like a true family vacation. And we were super blessed. My sister and brother and their baby, were blessed with a week at the beach. And it was a condo with multiple rooms. So they invited us to come. And it was just like truly a vacation. And it was so fun.
It was great. Beach.
Yeah. So it was a beach vacation in the Gulf Shores. And I have never worn so much sunscreen.
That's right.
In my life. I'm usually like a sunbathing lizard. And I want to get like super tan. Yeah. And right now being...
And I usually hide from the sun.
Yeah. He's like... Actually, he's allergic to it. And so we usually have really polar opposite, like... I'm like, yeah, lay me out in the sand. And he's like, get me under an umbrella. Mm-hmm. But being pregnant, my skin's like super sensitive this time around. Yeah. And so like I was out for like 5 minutes and I'm like, holy moly, like I'm turning red. So
you Googled it. You said that's kind of common.
Yeah, because I was like, why is this happening? Yeah. Usually I could be out all day. So we're a lot of sunscreen, but still got a little bit of color. That was fun. But we just kind of wanted to share like what that experience is like. What is it like for us to take a trip?
Well, I think the similarities and differences, there's a lot of similities.
With traveling with kids is like...
Yeah, that's just hard. Like
there's just a lot of work.
We do all the same stuff as far as, we love just sitting at the beach and like playing with sand or, playing in the water and the waves, whatever that means.
Yeah, we love getting sand in all the areas that you find later.
Yeah. But yeah, some of the differences. So like for fly stuff, it's really hard because we always have to rent a car everywhere, and rent an accessible van, which is not impossible, especially in a big city, but very expensive.
It's stupid expensive. It's like
easily 2 to 3 times as much
as like a regular rental car. Like it's ridiculous.
And 10 times more complicated because there's not, you can't Uber.
Yeah, right.
And
well, you know what? I've heard some bigger cities. My friend who lives in New York, she said every taxi is accessible.
Really?
I don't know if that was like an exaggeration, but like that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So not usually where we go, and definitely not where we go on vacations. Like when we went to Europe or when we go to Mexico, like not going to happen.
No.
We have the amount of times we have thrown my chair in the back of like a minivan.
Yeah.
That definitely was not meant to hold a 300-pound wheelchair. is pretty incredible.
Yeah. We haven't done that in a long time, though.
We haven't done it in a while. Yeah, it's definitely getting better as far as accessibility. That's a really exciting change that I love seeing. And, but yeah, as far as like packing up the kids, we packed everything in the kitchen sink. My sister's baby is 3, and so you just need like so many extra things with little ones and our kids, and you just don't want to forget things. I like to be over prepared.
You do. I think a lot of women like to be over prepared, and I think you're doing great.
In comparison?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have
at least one in your family.
Clothes. But the kids wore everything I packed.
Yeah.
You wore everything I packed.
Yeah. I mean, there was some extras.
I had options.
We had options. We had options left, and it wasn't an excessive amount of options, but it's a lot because, you have
when you're going to the
3
beach,
outfits every day.
Yeah, you're going to the beach, and then you're going to get ready and go out to dinner at night and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the beach is like another whole thing because it's like you got to bring the sand toys and the towels and the sunscreen and the umbrellas and the boogie boards and the oh my gosh, all the things. But it was so fun, and the kids love it. Bronx Shy and Navy love being in the ocean. They were so cute.
This ocean was really cool too because it like had a really I don't know what the beach
shallow?
term. Yeah, like shallow. The tide was really shallow for a long ways, so they could play relatively safely. It still would roll in and out and stuff, but it wasn't. Bronx and Navy both played in there for a long
safely.
time. Yeah, super safely.
And then Shy and you would go out and like be smashed by waves.
Yeah.
Which is very terrifying to watch as a mom, but you guys made it back in one piece.
Yeah.
Shy's like, I know how to get out of a riptide. I'm like, let's not test that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But as far as, so like all the regular family things, are great. And a lot of people who I talked to, friends who I talked to before, they're like, you're going to the beach with your family, like have so much fun. They're like, you need a vacation after that because it's not really, when the kids are on vacation, it's not like really a vacation. It's like, I get it because it's like after you do the beach all day and you're exhausted with like the 20,000 snacks that you pack and drinks and, all the things. And it's like, you got to go back and give everybody showers and do all those things. So it is a lot.
A lot.
But the quality time and the fun memories we build is super worth it. As far as traveling to the beach with a wheelchair, on top of being pregnant, I was like another whole, we're crazy, but I was like, we're going to do it.
But we took our own van, so that helps.
Yeah, we took our own car. That's really helpful because we could pack as much as we needed.
Yep. Ride's taken care of, and it's all with us all the time.
Yeah, so one thing we had discovered last summer, I think when we were with your parents, they had purchased this really cool beach chair. That's like a regular beach chair that you sit in, but it has 2 wheels in the back. And the purpose of the wheels is because it turns into a wagon. But we found a cool purpose was that, so kind of to paint the picture for everyone is, when we go to a beach, typically you walk on like some sort of boardwalk and it ends, and then everyone carries their stuff and like runs on the burning hot sand.
Once the sand starts. Yeah.
When the sand starts, you got to walk down to your lawn chair or beach chair. And then even from there, you go down to the water. It's a lot of up and down.
And all that's without a wheelchair. Right.
And so we have to figure out, normally you're carrying me. And not only is it like, that's a lot to like be carried up and down a beach. I am like dead weight when I'm carried. Like,
it's so slippery when we're all
and
sweaty
then I'm
and
sweaty
stuff
and I wear sunscreen, like tanning lotion, like
slip through my arms.
Yeah, and most of the time people are staring at us and they're like, "Is she dead? Like, is she drowning?
Yeah.
Can I help you? Yeah, we do get a lot of "Can I help you," which is super sweet, but also like, no, like grab a leg. I don't know what to tell them. Like, so. We found this chair. What I was saying is it has the wheels. Cool thing about it is he can get it like situated where we want it. And then if we need to adjust, like, okay, the tide went out 3 feet. You can kind of just like drag me out 3 feet in the chair. So we purchased one of those before we left. They're kind of expensive for a lounge chair, but we purchased one. And then when we got there, we realized they had these amazing things that I have never experienced. I've seen other friends of mine who are in the disability community who do lots of travel and stuff, talk about them. But they're called Mobi Mats. And the second I saw them on that beach, the whole vacation changed for me because I was kind of nervous being this pregnant. I already have a really hard time being comfortable.
Yeah.
Like any giant pregnant person. But then just not being able to like shift my own weight and do my own thing. Like I knew it was going to be a lot to like be at the beach for hours.
Yeah, in a lounge chair.
In an uncomfortable lounge chair. So we get there the first day and there's an amazing guy who's working.
Yeah.
Like they had like beach chairs that you rent for the day, that are part of the resort. And he was just super friendly and was like, oh my gosh, he literally said to me, it was so sweet. He was like carrying these mats are big mats and he was carrying one with you. And I was like, thanks so much, man. And he was like, dude, everyone deserves to be at the beach. And I was like, oh my, like that right there, everyone deserves to be at the beach should be like the heart of anyone working there, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how we see it. Like, okay, we're going to put a little extra effort in because it's worth it.
Yep.
So it made the whole week. Tell me a little bit about the Mobi Mats because I know you had to.
They were awesome. They were like the sides were a little bit sharp because they were basically like pieces of wire or some kind of like thin steel strips.
Thing, right?
It was really tough.
Really?
I don't think it was plastic.
Okay.
But it was really coated in like a leather or something so it wouldn't get fried in the sun. But it's just really.
They're 5 feet wide.
Rugged mat. Yeah, wide. And you just roll it on top of itself and it goes out like 50 feet.
These ones were the 50-foot ones, I believe. And they had 3 of them there.
Yeah, so the first day we kind of figured out how we're going to do it. We ended up
They weren't totally set up on the first day. They were like, a couple of them were like pushed aside and rolled up and they just had one laying out there.
Yeah.
And I think people would just like walk on it and walk out to their areas. And so we figured out like what we needed to do, maneuver him around. Him and my brother-in-law, they were saints. They just like got me set up every single day.
Yeah.
Out in
we were
the
able
sand.
to roll out on one of the Mobi Mats because there were 3. So we could roll out onto the permanent one. Well, actually there was permanent too. The first day it wasn't staked down the second one, but usually there was just like a long 100-foot hallway down the stairs or down the beach that it's like the sand fell through it or something. Like it was always perfect.
It was perfect.
And then there was a third loose one that we could get onto that mat and then use it at the end of that mat, move it again once you were on it to
get me like super close. So I was like all the way down, like just a few feet from the water.
Yeah, under the umbrella.
Yeah. And it was awesome because the kids were playing. I could be right there. And like this is my first time in 35 years that I got to enjoy the beach in my wheelchair, which is a really big deal. Like really big deal. I got to do it all week.
I love it. I mean, I wish it was every time, but at least it was the time that you're pregnant.
I know.
That you're like the most uncomfortable, but you can be the most comfortable on this situation.
Yeah. So I got to be, and then the fun part is like we had our umbrella set up, and if I wanted to be in the sun, I would just like back up on the Mobi mat and like be in the sun, and then I could move back into the shade when I was getting too hot, like easily adjustable.
Yeah.
And then my wheelchair like tilts and reclines, and it was just so cool. Until
the last day. Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
But
this is important. The reason I want to share it is I'm not a complainer. I'm not a I don't go on and use my socials for a ton of injustices, but I feel like this one really affected us, and it opened my eyes to see how much we fight for accessibility. And even when it's available, it's still not greeted with like, oh, this should be the norm. And so kind of to explain what happened, we were there for 8 days total. And it's the full day before we leave the next morning. And I told you we had that super great guy the first day who was like so kind and helping us get it situated and all that. And he wasn't there the rest of the week. So we were kind of on our own. We set it up every time. James and Jake would go and maneuver it and get me down there all on our own. And it was the last day. And the guy who's working there came up. Jake's moving one of it. Or no, we get there and the third one's missing. So we're like, okay, shoot. So basically the point of the Mobi Mats is like, you have to have more than one if you have to go far a distance because you got to get on one, move the back one to the front and kind of stagger it. So Jake went over and asked the guy, hey, is the third one gone? Or is it just rolled up somewhere I got to get? And he was like, no, it's at a different resort.
But the way that he answered me was very like, this is not a discussion, and I've been preparing all day to tell you this. And I was just like muted with like, okay, we're not doing that. But yeah, he was like, no, it went to a different resort. I said, oh, okay. And that just is what it is. Like, we're not.
Yeah, it wasn't like, hey, but you know what? XYZ. Yeah. Or could we assist you in nothing?
Yeah, no, which, again, that wouldn't help us if he started apologizing and everything. Anyways,
No,
but it didn't feel like it was very warm at all.
No. So then there's two there. So we were like, okay, first of all, the way they had these set up was not for accessibility because there's this really long boardwalk you walk down, and then at the very end of it, it tees off, and there are ramps that go down. Well, the ramps are covered in sand, in a foot of sand. And then from the edge of the ramp to where they started the Mobi Mats was another
like 3 feet or so.
3 feet. So I could not get onto those Mobi Mats.
Yeah, and we laughed at that, thinking, yeah, this is real helpful.
This is not accessible.
But then we found that other mat. They're like, oh, maybe that's what this is.
Yeah. So we were like, well, in order to get me onto that Mobi Mat, we have to move the second one up here, get me onto the first one, and then start the train down. So Jake starts they're like little stakes in the sand, like what you put your...
I pulled it out with my hand.
Yeah, what you put your tents down with.
Yeah.
He pulls a stake out, and the guy comes over, and he's like, you can't do that. And he's giving all this attitude. And it's kind of like, what do you want me to do then? It's like there was no compromise or option or...
And we've already been doing this for days.
With
him.
With him there.
Yeah, he's seen it. I mean, he was just done with it today. And yeah, frustrating. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I can't have you doing that. And I'm like, what do you want us to do? And they're like, well, I mean, I don't know, but we can't have you unstaking this stuff. And they're like, well...
Which we had never unstaked any of them before because we had the third one.
Yeah, we had the third one. And I was like, well, we can't get out to the beach then. And they're like, I'm sorry.
Walked away.
Like, okay.
So mind you, just to give a picture, where I'm at on the wooden boardwalk is probably 200 to 300 feet from the ocean. And that's where my kids are playing. And our umbrellas are right at not totally up against the ocean, but at least 150 feet away. So if I can't get my chair on there, we didn't bring that other rolling chair because we hadn't needed it all week. I was just going to sit up there by myself on...
That's what you did?
The boardwalk.
Oh, no, yeah, on the boardwalk. Yeah, we decided to carry you down and just try to get you...
Yeah, because, so before we did
comfortable
that...
or down there.
The guy was not very happy and was like, you can't do that. And so I asked for his name and company he worked for, which I think he didn't prefer. But I was, I mean, like, my whole issue was these are accessible mats. You go look on their website. They talk about how they are leading mats for soft grounds, beaches, etc., for accessibility. Yes, people walk on them. Yes, people were bringing their wagons down them. Yes, people didn't want to walk, with their sandals in the sand, so they were walking on these. I'm not saying you can't use them, but like if we have the opportunity to use it for a wheelchair, why aren't we letting people use it?
Yeah.
And so the guy came back. My sister was livid, and she was already down by the water, so she came up to come talk to him. And he walked over, and he's not talking to me. I don't think he was going to talk to me. I think he couldn't bear to look at the fact that I was sitting on the boardwalk by myself. So he's trying to talk to Jake. And he, before my sister could open her mouth, which is probably good for him, he said, hey, I just talked to my boss, and he said, but with all of this with a total attitude, he was like, you can unstake this one, but you have to put it back. I'll leave you this shovel right here. You need to put it exactly how you found it afterwards. And I was like, okay, dude, like, thanks. Like, we've done this every day without your help. You haven't been assisting us in anything. And we've never left it incorrect. So why are you giving us all this, trouble?
I don't know.
At the end of the day, my husband picked me up and carried me down.
Yeah, because we were going to be like, okay, if we unstake this and we do that, then it's like when they're staked, it's actually sturdy.
Yeah.
And you can use them a lot better. So we had the one loose one, which is fine. But when you're doing a loose one on top of another loose one, it gets really...
And we could have done it, but we didn't want to unstake both of them. And just the way the guy was treating us, it just was not... It was not like, hey, let's do what we can to get it working for you. It was like, you're really inconveniencing me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hate inconveniencing people. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, I just felt really disrespected and really like, wow, you really don't care about our experience here, you know? And so, needless to say, we got to the end of the beach and it was wonderful. Mm-hmm. I think... Like, so what's the point in all that, right?
Yeah, I mean, the guy was I think what we're most upset about because just his attitude and it's like, yes, it's for that and it has multiple benefits and everybody's benefiting a little bit from it, just like everyone benefits from an elevator.
Exactly.
But, you know, we don't have the option of taking the stairs. Yeah. So this is kind of like one of those situations to where it's like, well, tough luck. It's like, okay, there are situations like that.
And that doesn't just affect me. That affects you. That affects my family. Yeah. That affects my kids playing with me in the water. Like, it affects everything. And I know he's not thinking about that. The guy was thinking about whatever, not having to restake it down or whatever. But my hope is that people can really see these amazing tools are there for a reason. And when I got to use it, it was incredible. Mm-hmm. And then when you hindered me from doing it, it really sucked the life out of the vacation day.
Yeah, it did. And we've done it before. Totally. But I think knowing that it was available, it just wasn't available for us because of someone's attitude.
Absolutely.
Was the hard part.
We came prepped to not have it. Mm-hmm. And I was probably not going to be at the beach every day. I'd probably kind of pick and choose how long I sat there and, you know, all that. But when it was available, I got to fully experience it anytime the kids were down there or you were down there. It was great. So my hope, if there's any lifeguards or beach chair rental men watching this, no, just kidding. But even for vacation resorts, like knowing that those are an option, I would highly recommend you purchasing those for your resort.
And
incredible.
In the context of a resort, I mean, they're expensive for us and very, very big. We couldn't afford.
Oh yeah, we couldn't stick that in our car and travel.
No, they're massive. I mean, for being on the beach, they're fine, but they're totally weatherproof. But you said what? You looked them up to like $2,500.
Yes, for one, something like that.
Which is a lot of money. $7,500
for three
of them. But for a hotel, it is literally nothing. And now it's accessible, and that is like and people if they know about that,
Well, and that's the thing is when I saw it and I was like, I cannot wait to tell other people that this resort is accessible. Mm-hmm. Like every part of this resort is accessible. And we took family pictures. I have never taken family pictures on the beach.
Yeah.
Because usually I'm like all weird in the lounge chair and half, my bathing suit or whatever.
Yeah, you get to go
and
put on a dress.
I put on a dress and we got to roll out to the edge of that Mobi mat and take some pictures. And it was just really cool for me. And so, I just hope more places will become more accessible and not make it so difficult for people.
No. So what I was thinking about, though, in regards to this is it's still technically private property, I would imagine. It's not like it's for everybody. They bought it with the intention of using it for that. And then, it'll help, strollers and stuff like that, too. That's great. But do you think it would be like, what's the line of wrong when it comes to private property? Because it's available, but it's not yours. So do you feel like you're righted or privileged to that kind of thing?
I mean, do they have a right to not let me use it? Probably.
It's not cool.
It's not cool. Mm-hmm. I would not be giving you no 5 stars. Let me tell you that.
We have this, just you can't use it.
Right. It's silly to me. I don't know. I feel like to my core, I feel like it's wrong. Like it is wrong. Do I think I could sue that? No. Well,
that's not your personality, but still let's say it was a legal thing. Like what is the right? I
think my whole thing is we have to open people's eyes to the benefits of it, how that changed our life for the good, and by not having the consequences of it. Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I was thinking about is like, there's all kinds of things. Like this is a walking situation, but it's really hard to adapt to a world that is like, if we were deaf or blind, our struggles would be completely different.
Absolutely.
And it is so hard to make a world that is fully accessible.
Yeah. Well, and I've said this in multiple talks I've given, podcasts, is we've come a long way, but we have a really long way to go.
Yeah.
And as somebody who has been in a chair her entire life, I've never come at it as, you better make this accessible for me. I fully have had to adapt to a non-adaptive world. Like a world that was not set up for me. And I've gotten super creative, and we went there prepped to do it our own way. But gosh, was it a lot easier
Yeah.
and more enjoyable, and just a lot of things. So that's why accessibility is so important. Like, I think some people on the outside who don't have accessibility barriers think that people with disabilities are constantly complaining or griping or waving their flags of, I want to have the same opportunity and privilege as you. But it's like, okay, but at the core of it, like, let's just make life enjoyable for everybody. And if we have the tools and the means to do it, we just have to shift our mindsets. That guy just didn't have the mindset of, dude, this would make her life so much easier. If we unstaked these 6 stakes. It was, oh, that's a little more work for me later. That we weren't even asking him to do. We were going to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
It is tricky.
But I think
so you're saying, I mean, because obviously we're not politicians, we can't change the laws, nor do we have solutions for any of that kind of stuff. But you're coming at it from like no, we need to.
But a lot of it is ignorance. Well, a lot of it is people just don't know. Because it is important to get into politics with this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I went to a building one time. It was a state building, like Department of Human Services or something. And their accessibility button was nowhere I could reach. What the heck am I supposed to do with that?
I remember that. It was in like the lawn.
And I was stuck in the rain.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
They're trying.
Are you? Not very hard.
Not very hard. Well, it didn't work.
A lot of it is just people like me have to speak up about it, because people who don't experience it don't have an idea.
Right.
And then the people who do have the power to make changes actually have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I ever open a beachfront resort, there will be Mobi Mats for everyone.
Dang. That'd be cool.
But anyways, it was still a wonderful trip.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And luckily that was on the last day too. Yes. So it wasn't even like awkward next days. Like, are we allowed to use it today? Like, are you the cool guy?
Oh, luckily.
Yeah.
But,
so, I mean, yeah, for being kind of a crap situation in that one little instance, it was so good. And it was really nice to just relax and watch the kids play all day.
Yeah, it was great. It was so fun. Yeah. And we do it again. And we're excited to do even more accessible travel.
Yep.
We're heading out. Oh man, we just got back. You're heading out here in a couple of days for a work trip. And then in 2 days after that, we head out for a big conference, which I'm really excited to be part of. And when I get back from that, I will do a podcast on that one, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Debrief.
A debrief. I have 4 different sessions I'm speaking at, and they're all topics that I'm super passionate about. So maybe we'll just turn them all into podcasts.
Cool.
Just kidding. We'll see. But awesome. Well, thanks for watching, guys.